listen to me. Every single one of you was born with greatness inside. I'm not talking about average. 2, I'm not talking about good enough. I'm talking about the best version of you that the world has yet to see. But here's the truth. 2, most of us never reach it, not because we're not talented, not because we're not capable, but because we let the noise drown out our purpose. 2, the noise of fear, of doubt, of other people's opinions, of comfort zones calling us back to mediocrity. Today, I'm telling you, enough is enough. 2, it's time to kill the noise, tune into your purpose, and embrace the greatness that's been waiting for you all along. 2, when I say identify the noise, I'm not just talking about something you hear. 2, I'm talking about the constant barrage of distractions that infiltrate your mind and pull you away from what truly matters. 2, it's the endless stream of content on your phone, the subtle pull of other people's expectations. 2, the background hum of comparison that makes you feel like you're falling behind. The truth is, we live in an environment designed to keep us mentally occupied, but not necessarily mentally engaged. And there's a big difference. 2, occupied minds spin in circles, engaged minds move forward. Noise is anything that steals your attention without giving you anything of value in return. 2, that can be obvious, scrolling for hours binge, watching shows you don't care about. Or it can be insidious, 2, like constantly checking in with people who drain your energy. 2, or filling every quiet moment with some form of stimulation so you never have to think deeply about where you are in life. Psychologically, 2, this is dangerous because when you avoid stillness, you avoid self-awareness. And without self-awareness, you have no way of knowing whether the path you're on is the one you were meant to walk. 2, the first step in killing the noise is to actually recognize it for what it is. This requires brutal honesty. You have to ask yourself, 2, what am I consuming? Who am I listening to? What habits am I feeding? And here's the crucial part. Are these things moving me closer to the life I want? 2, or are they just keeping me entertained enough to forget that I'm not living it? That's not a comfortable question to face, 2, but comfort is often the biggest noise of all. When you begin to filter your environment, 2, you start to realize that your attention is the most valuable currency you own. Every time you give it away carelessly, 2, you are funding someone else's priorities instead of your own. And that's the core tragedy of noise. It doesn't just waste your time. 2, it hijacks your potential. The more you allow meaningless inputs to occupy your mental space, the less room there is for meaningful thought, creativity, 2, and focused action. So if you want to embrace your greatness, you first have to clear the space for it to exist. Cut the static. 2, tune your mind to a higher frequency, because the truth is your life can't change until your attention does. The truth is, most of the resistance you face in life won't come from the outside world. It will come from the voice inside your own head. That voice is ancient, 2. It's wired into you from a survival standpoint. It's there to keep you safe, to avoid risk, to pull you away from anything uncertain, 2. But here's the problem. The very mechanism that once kept our ancestors alive is now the same mechanism keeping modern people stagnant. 2, we are not running from predators anymore, but we are running from discomfort, 2, and we disguise it as, being realistic. When you listen to that voice uncritically, it becomes your greatest oppressor, 2. It tells you you're not ready, that you're not good enough, that someone else could do it better. And because it speaks in your own tone, 2, you mistake it for truth. But it isn't truth, it's fear dressed up as wisdom. 2, the philosopher S. Ren Kierkegaard once said that anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. When you stand at the edge of what's possible for you, 2, you will feel that dizziness. Most people step back, a few step forward, though. Those are the ones who change the world. 2, silencing the doubters around you is easier. You can walk away from them. Silencing the one inside requires something deeper. You must learn to observe that voice, to separate your identity from it. This is where psychological discipline comes in. When a thought says, 2, you can't do that, instead of accepting it, you interrogate it. You ask, according to what evidence? 2, and compared to whom? You begin to realize that most of your self-doubt has no foundation other than habit. Two, and then there's the external noise, the friends, the colleagues, even family members who consciously or not reinforce your limitations. Two, often they're not malicious, they simply can't see beyond their own frame of reference. But here's a hard truth, too. If you take their vision of you as final, you'll never see your own. Two, you have to be willing to be misunderstood in the short term to be respected in the long term. Two, greatness doesn't bloom in an environment of constant permission seeking. It requires that you step into arenas before you feel fully ready. Two, that you make decisions that your past self wouldn't understand. Two, and the moment you stop needing everyone, including yourself, to approve of your every move, you become unstoppable. Two, your greatest battle is not with the world, it's with the limits you've accepted as true. Change that and you change everything. Two, if you strip away all the distractions, all the external expectations, all the noise, you're left with a fundamental question. Why are you doing this? Two, without a clear and compelling answer, your actions will be scattered, inconsistent, and easily derailed by the smallest obstacle. Two, human beings are meaning-driven creatures. We don't just survive on food and water, we survive on purpose. And purpose is what transforms an exhausting struggle into a worthy sacrifice. Why? Isn't just a motivational slogan. Two, it's the organizing principle of your life. It's the deep reason that justifies the discipline, the early mornings, the late nights, the moments of doubt when quitting would be so much easier. Psychologically, it acts as a filter. When your why is strong enough, two, it becomes obvious what belongs in your life and what doesn't. Things either align with that purpose or they don't. Two, and the more clearly you define it, the less space you'll have for things that pull you away from it. Here's the danger, too. If you don't consciously define your why, the world will do it for you. Advertisers, peers, too. Cultural trends. They'll hand you a ready-made purpose that looks attractive on the surface but has no depth beneath it. Two, that's how people end up chasing status symbols, titles, or fleeting pleasures. Two, only to find themselves empty once they've made it. This isn't hypothetical. It's a predictable psychological outcome when meaning is outsourced. Two, your why must be something you are willing to suffer for. Not in a masochistic way, two, but in the sense that the cost of pursuing it is worth every bit of pain it demands. If it doesn't move you emotionally, two, if it doesn't stir a deep sense of urgency within you, it's not strong enough. Two, the most fulfilling goals aren't necessarily the easiest. They're the ones that, even in your darkest moments, you still feel compelled to pursue. Once you anchor yourself in that kind of purpose, external circumstances lose much of their power over you. Two, temporary setbacks become just that, temporary. Criticism loses its sting. Distractions become less tempting. Two, because when you know exactly why you're in the fight, you stop negotiating with yourself about whether you should keep going. Two, a life without a why is a life easily hijacked. But a life built on a powerful why, that's a life no amount of noise can derail. Them too. Discipline is the bridge between intention and reality. Without it, even the most powerful vision will collapse under the weight of inconsistency. Two, this is where so many people falter. They wait for motivation to show up as if progress is something you do only when you feel inspired. Two, but motivation is unreliable. It's fleeting, it's emotional. Discipline, on the other hand, is structural. Two, it's a commitment that operates independently of your mood. It's the decision to do the work whether or not you feel like it in the moment. Two, psychologically, discipline works because it builds identity. Every time you follow through on a promise you've made to yourself. Two, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who can be trusted to act. That belief becomes self-perpetuating. You begin to see yourself differently, too, and that self-perception changes how you engage with the world. Conversely, every time you break a commitment to yourself, you erode that trust, too. And once you stop trusting yourself, it's very difficult to believe you can achieve anything of significance. Two, there's also a philosophical dimension to discipline. It's about choosing long-term, meaning over short-term gratification. Two, our culture conditions us to seek immediate comfort, but greatness requires you to delay that comfort in favor of something more enduring. Two, this is why discipline often feels uncomfortable in the moment. It's you refusing to serve the demands of the present in order to serve the needs of the future. 2, that's a deeply human struggle, and it's not one you win by accident. When you commit to discipline, you're not just building habits. 2, you're constructing the framework of your life. You're creating a structure that supports you when emotions are unstable, when circumstances shift, to when external motivation disappears. In this sense, discipline is freedom. It liberates you from being at the mercy of your impulses. 2, it ensures that progress continues regardless of chaos. The uncomfortable truth is this: greatness isn't the result of a single extraordinary act. It's the sum of countless ordinary actions repeated with precision over time. 2, the glamour is in the outcome, but the power is in the process. So stop waiting for the perfect mood, the right energy, or the ideal moment to start acting as if your future depends on the choices you make today, because it does. 2, the people you keep closest to you will either amplify your potential or quietly erode it. 2, human beings are profoundly influenced by their social environment, more than most of us care to admit. Our attitudes, beliefs, too, and even our sense of what's possible are shaped by the individuals we interact with most frequently. 2, this isn't just a matter of motivation, it's a matter of identity. You will begin to mirror the mindset and behaviors of the people around you, too, whether consciously or unconsciously. That's why being intentional about your circle isn't optional, it's essential. 2, there's a psychological principle called social contagion, which suggests that emotions, habits, tune, and even levels of ambition spread through groups like a virus. If you spend enough time with people who complain, procrastinate, and avoid responsibility, 2, you will start to adopt their worldview without realizing it. The inverse is also true. If you surround yourself with individuals who push themselves, set high standards, and live with integrity, you will feel an unspoken pressure to rise to meet them. This is why some people accelerate in certain environments while others plateau. The difference often isn't talent, but association. Philosophically, it comes down to a question of alignment. 2, the people in your life should not just like you. They should understand and support the direction you're moving toward. 2, that doesn't mean blind agreement. In fact, healthy relationships challenge you. They hold you accountable. 2, but they challenge you from a place of wanting to see you grow, not from a place of fear or envy. Too many people unknowingly keep anchors in their life, relationships that hold them in place because forward movement would make the other person uncomfortable. 2, it takes courage to reassess your relationships because it often means creating distance from people you care about. 2, but protecting your potential sometimes requires uncomfortable choices. This isn't about arrogance, it's about stewardship of your life's trajectory. 2, you only get one. If you truly want to embrace your greatness, you need to place yourself in environments that demand your best. 2, surround yourself with people whose very presence makes you want to elevate, because mediocrity is contagious, but so is excellence. Your circle is either sharpening you or dulling you. Choose accordingly, because who you walk with will determine where you end up. At some point, 2, you have to stop preparing and start moving. Far too many people stay in a perpetual state of getting ready, convincing themselves they're waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, 2, or the perfect level of confidence. But perfection is an illusion. It's a moving target that will always be just out of reach. What you're actually waiting for is the disappearance of uncertainty, and that moment will never come. Life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. The only way to eliminate uncertainty is to stay exactly where you are, and that's the surest way to kill any possibility of growth. Psychologically, 2, this hesitation comes from a desire to minimize risk. We tell ourselves that by waiting, we're being strategic, that we're gathering more information, 2, or that conditions simply aren't right yet. In reality, waiting often becomes a sophisticated form of procrastination. It feels responsible, 2, but it's really just fear wearing a respectable mask, and the cost is enormous. Every day you delay, 2, you not only postpone progress, you also weaken the part of yourself that believes you're capable of decisive action. Philosophically, 2, stepping into your greatness means accepting that action precedes clarity. You don't discover your full capability by thinking about it. 2, You discover it by engaging with the world, by testing your ideas against reality, by failing and recalibrating. 2, and by allowing yourself to be shaped by the process. This is the paradox. The confidence you think you need before you act only comes after you act. 2, when you start moving towards something meaningful, the path doesn't reveal itself all at once. It unfolds in proportion to your commitment. 2, the more you step forward, the more opportunities and insights you uncover. But you have to take that initial step without the guarantee of the outcome. That's not recklessness, that's courage. And courage is the essential catalyst for any significant transformation. So stop waiting for certainty. 2, stop trying to control every variable and stop rehearsing the same vision in your head while your life passes by. Begin where you are with what you have. 2, and let momentum work in your favor. You don't need perfect conditions to start. You need a decision. Make it now. 2, the longer you wait to step into your greatness, the louder the noise becomes. 2, greatness is not an accident. It's the result of deliberate choices made over and over again, even when no one is watching. 2, it's the discipline to cut out the noise, the courage to silence the doubters, the clarity of knowing your why. 2, the commitment to choose discipline over distraction, the wisdom to align yourself with those who lift you higher. 2, and the boldness to step forward before you feel ready. Each of these is a decision you make daily, not a one-time declaration. 2, the world will always offer you excuses, distractions, and reasons to play small. But you were not born to play small. You were born to rise, to lead. 2, to push the boundaries of what you thought possible. So stand up, take ownership, and move with intention. The noise will fade, the fear will shrink. 2, and the path will become clear, but only if you start walking it now.